Hey crochet beginners, here are some gorgeous little PJ socks for you. They are just super cute and so very easy to make. Hello and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Diane, welcome. This is Crochet with Diane. So how cute are these PJ socks? If you're looking for something that's super quick and so easy to make, I've got you covered with this one. Once you've started and with the first 3 or 4 rounds, it's a 1 row repeat all the way up. So if you're just sat watching a little TV and wanting to relax, this is the one for you. So if you want to learn how to make these, keep on watching. For this project, you will need any colour of your choice in a double knit weight yarn. I'm using 2 colours, one for the main body of the sock and one for just the rim at the top of the sock. You'll need a 5mm crochet hook, some scissors and a couple of stitch markers. So to begin, you can use the magic circle method if you prefer, but today we're making it nice and simple. We're going to make a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 3 and then slip stitch into that very first chain that you made, and that creates a little circle in between the 3 chains, and we're going to work our next stitches into that space. So round 1, chain 2, 1, 2, and this will act as your first stitch. And now we're going to make 11 half double crochets into the center of those 3 chains just there. So yarn over. It's a little bit tricky to start with. Push your hook into the center of those 3 chains, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and we're going to make a total, we're going to have a total of 12 half double crochet stitches all into the center of that chain 3. So make 11 half double crochets because that chain 2 acts as your 12th stitch. So for round 1, make 11 half double crochet stitches into the center of that chain 3 space. Once you've made 11 half double crochet stitches, you'll have 12 in total, including this first chain 2 that you did at the very beginning, and then slip stitch into the second chain to finish and close that circle. So hook in, yarn over, slip through and slip through, and that's round 1. Now for round 2, we're going to chain 2. Now we're going to place 2 half double crochet stitches into the top of every stitch all the way around. So yarn over, find your next stitch, and I tend to go into the very top. So if you look at the top, there's this loop, and this loop, and instead of going through these two, go into the very top two. Make a half double crochet, and then make a half double crochet into that same stitch. So it's 2 half double crochet stitches into the top of every stitch all the way around. So keep going like this all the way around, and I'll meet you as we're approaching the end of this round. So I've gone all the way around, putting in 2 double crochet stitches in every stitch, and I've got 23 because we only have this one here. So what I do on these beginning rounds, so there's no gaps, is I'll bring the camera in slightly. I put an extra double crochet or stitch 24 into the top of this loop here. So you've got this loop here and one underneath at the back. And what that does, there, just like that, make your last double crochet in there, and that just makes sure that there's no gaps in your circle, and you have 24 stitches. Now to finish this circle, you slip stitch into the top of that second chain, hook in, yarn over, pull, oh, that's being difficult there, pull through and pull through. And there you have your circle with, and if you want to count, make sure you have 24 stitches. The thing with socks is you're having to make 2 exactly the same. So it's a good idea to get the stitch count right. So let's move on to round 3. So for round 3, again, start with a chain 2, 1, 2, and what we're going to do is make 1 half double crochet into 3 stitches and then 1 increase. So yarn over, find your next stitch and make a half double crochet, and then in the next stitch make a half double crochet, and the next stitch a half double crochet, and then in the 4th one we're going to do 2 in the same stitch, so 2 half double crochets into that next stitch, 1 and 2, and then we'll go again. We'll put 1 half double crochet into the next 3, that's 1, 2 and 3, and then in the next one we place 2 in the same stitch, So 1 half double crochet and 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. So continue that pattern all the way around until you reach the beginning again, placing 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then in the 4th place 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Repeat all the way around. So at the end of round 3 you should have 30 stitches, and to finish, slip stitch into the top of that chain 2 as you do each and every time. And again, count your stitches. If it is that you have 32 and you don't want to undo the whole thing again, and you're happy with this size, just make a note of the fact that you have 32 stitches, or if it's 28, but you should have 30. But if you don't want to undo the whole thing, as long as you do the other sock exactly the same, and it's not too big and too small, you know, there's a little bit of flexibility there. As long as you're doing both of your socks the same size, you're good to go. So let's move on to round 4. So we're going to chain 2. And at this point, I'm going to start using the stitch marker. So just pop your stitch marker into that beginning of your chain 2. This always helps when we're working in the round, so you know when you've reached all the way around to the other side. Excuse me, especially as you're starting to work up the sock. So now round 4 is quite simply 1 half double crochet in every single stitch. So yarn over, find your next stitch and make a half double crochet, and then a half double crochet into the next one. And continue like this all the way around, putting in 1 half double crochet in every single stitch. And I will meet you as we're approaching the end of this round. Okay, so we're approaching the end of the round. I'll take the stitch marker out and place a slip stitch into the top of your chain 2 to finish the circle. There you go. And if you turn it over, you can see that by doing half double crochets around the toes, it's going to keep your toes nice and warm. There's not going to be too many gaps. If you want at this point, you can just, if you've worked around your tail end a little bit, you can tug that in. If you haven't, don't worry, we can sew through around and pull it tight. So now is very, very easy from now on. First of all, back with your stitch marker, plonk your stitch marker back in there, and chain 2, 1 and 2. Now we're moving on to double crochet. So yarn over, find your next stitch, put your hook in, yarn over, bring up a loop. You've got, bring that camera in, you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to place a double crochet into each and every stitch all the way around your circle. Pull through 2 and pull through 2. It's a slightly bigger stitch so that the sock begins to grow really quite quickly now. So continue around your circle, placing 1 double crochet into each and every stitch around your circle, and I'll meet you as we're approaching your stitch marker. So here we are again at the end of round 5, and you'll probably find your work is trying to curl upwards, which is what you want. So take your stitch marker out and to finish, we slip stitch into the top of your second chain of your chain 2. Oh. Slip stitch, okay. Now if I can bring the camera out slightly so you can see here, it's a little bit awkward working in the round with your work in front of you here. So if you want at this point to turn your work around so that you're it doesn't matter that you're working in the other direction at all, it's just easier because now it's starting to fold upwards and it's easier than trying to work with your stitches with the work here in front of you. So turn it round, find the end of my wool here, and chain 2. And now we're going to continue with our double crochet stitches, and if it helps, you can each and every time you start and finish a row, pop in your stitch marker and then continue putting in half double crochet. This is going to be the same repeat row all the way now. Double crochet. Let me just restate that. Double crochet from now on into each and every stitch all the way around each and every row. There you go. Continue all the way around until you reach your stitch marker. So again, we're approaching the end of the round. Take out your stitch marker and slip stitch into the top of that chain 2 to finish. And that is how you're going to continue for the rest of your sock. The pattern that I've done is 24, I did 24 rows in the pink and then 6 rows in the white, or you can just do 30 rows in one colour, or you can change colour as much or as many times as you like. But for this pattern I did 20, this is row 6, we've just finished row 6, and the nice bit about the way the stitches start at the beginning is you can quite simply count the rows here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So do 24 in total in the pink, and then 6 rows in the white. So 30 rounds, sorry, I'm talking rows. Rounds, 30 rounds, doing double crochet in every stitch all the way around, and that creates a very nice length of sock. If you wanted to make it longer, you absolutely could, but continue until you have 30 rows in total. So I'm just coming up to the end of round 24, and this is what your sock looks like so far. Nice little tube sock. So what I'm going to do, and you don't have to follow along with this colour palette, you can continue completely in one colour or change colour however you like, but I'm changing to white. So I'll take out my stitch marker and I'm going to place a slip stitch to finish round 24, and to change colour I will finish the slip stitch in the next colour. So I've got 2 loops on the hook, grab your next colour, hook that over your hook and finish your slip stitch. Just pull that white through, give that a tug, make it nice and secure. Then grab your scissors and leaving some yarn so that you can sew in your ends, snip off the pink, and then what I usually do is take these 2 tail ends and do a little overhand knot just to make that nice and secure. And off we go again with your next colour. Chain 2 and continue with your double crochet stitches into each and every stitch all the way around your circle. But now you're doing this in your next colour, and like I said, you can actually do this however you want all the way up the sock. You could change colour every 2 rows if you wanted to, but for this pattern, this is now round 25, and I'm going to do 6 more rounds in the white so that the socks have just a nice little white top to them. So carry on now in your next colour for another 6 rounds. But the total number of rounds of these socks in this pattern is 30 rounds in total, making them a perfect pair of little PJ socks. So continue in your next colour. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of round 30, which we are getting to the completion of our socks. So at this point you might want to grab hold of your scissors and darning needle ready for the next bit. So to finish off, just coming up to the end, I'm just going to work that last double crochet stitch and slip stitch into, as usual, into the top of that chain 2 space, chain, and then to finish, yarn over, pull through some wool, enough so that you have enough to sew in your ends, and snip off your wool, pull that through, and we are going to grab our darning needle and to sew in our ends. There shouldn't be too many unless you've changed colours a lot of times. There shouldn't be too many ends to sew in. So I'm going to sew these through to the inside of the sock. So just pop your darning needle through some stitches, pull through, and then I kind of double back and go through a few more. And then come the other way and going back up in the opposite direction. And if you want, double back again. There we go. Grab your scissors and cut off your excess yarn. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video, sorry, I've just bashed the camera there, of this, where if you didn't use the magic circle, and if you haven't managed to get the circle hole as tight as you would like, that's absolutely fine. All you need to do is grab your yarn and your darning needle, thread your darning needle, and push this right through to the other side, so it's going into the inside of the sock. You don't have to push it all the way through. Then we're going to turn the whole sock inside out, You might be able to feel that a darning needle as you're pulling the sock. Very gently. Inside out. And carry on pulling that through. Then what we're going to do, if you can, I'll bring the camera in again slightly. Sew through these stitches as close to the circle as you can. You see here, just go through one or two to start with. Just do that all the way around. Rethread my darning needle. So all the way around, I think one more go will do it. There we go. That's all the way around. And then if you see, as I'm pulling this wool, it closes up your centre hole there. So you've got no holes in the toes of your socks. We don't want that, do we? And then generally just finish sewing this end in as you would normally do. Snip off the end, turn your sock. I've got one or two more ends to sew in there. Sew in all your ends, but then turn your sock the right way. And here it is. Gorgeous little PJ socks, as I call them. Nice and simple and easy. So when you finish that, obviously, you need to go ahead and make another one exactly the same. So there you have it. There is your very quick and easy PJ socks that you can make while you've got your feet up watching the TV, and within one evening very easily. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a big thumbs up, comment, like, share and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.